First of all, I'll say that I've done 0 on this.
Well, you thought about it a lot.
Well, I think we've all thought about it a lot. We've been saying for years, literally, that we want to have this multi-client thing, right? Because that's what we actually suck at. I mean, you know, there's other solutions out there that are way better than we do. And they're solutions by people that we don't like, right? Not that that's a problem. And we've had this idea of how to do it. So anyway, so the basic idea is that it's essentially a kind of like a peer-to-peer type thing. Rather than having a central server necessarily, you have each client be the server. So you have, on each client you have your local library, and then you click a button that says serve this out over UPnP, and then all the other clients potentially can then access that, right? And so the idea is that all that you really need to do is when you see another UPnP server out there, which you could restrict to XBMC instances if you wanted to, you don't have to, then instead of having the user add that or having it auto pop up or whatever, and they have to click through a separate thing to get to the movies that are on that particular machine that's, you know, out in the garage or whatever. Instead of that, as soon as you see the server, you just basically go, give me all the content, and you inject that into the library. Okay, so basically you've got your local library, and then you just slap all the other stuff into the exact same library. So that then, when you click on movies, you get everything, right? So it's a pretty simple idea. And so basically, what do you need? Well, you need pretty much what we've already got. I don't think you need much new stuff, other than the fact that you need a little bit of code that says, when I see a UPnP server, list the UPnP server, grab all the metadata, and inject it into the library. And obviously, you want to flag it as remote, right? You don't, so that you don't confuse your local stuff, which you're also serving out in UPnP to other machines, with the stuff that you get from other machines. Otherwise, you get some horrible looping situation. But that's basically it. And the only other thing you need is probably duplicate handling, right? Because you're almost certainly going to have 2 machines that have the same, you know, I mean, if you actually got a Samba server with all your media on it, and you've got 2 clients, and you happen to say that they're both servers, then all of a sudden you'll get twice as much stuff on each one, right? Because they're both sharing the same content to each other. So you need duplicate detection. But I mean, it's all pretty simple stuff. And one of the summer of codes we had, which Sasha was the mentor for, was Pi stuff, which he got a little bit of code done. Mostly proof of concept though, stuff. But essentially he implemented the UPnP side of it, so he did a couple of enhancements to the existing UPnP stuff, just in terms of the TV shows in particular. Some of the metadata wasn't shared. And then he basically just implemented a thing that, you know, the UPnP client just basically just grabbed all the metadata and shoved it into the database, flagging it as remote. And so the code's kind of there, and Sasha told me just before that he's refactored a heap of it. So you reckon it's maybe ready?
Ready? No, but
Yeah.
better.
Better, exactly. Yeah, it was pretty horrid when I first saw it, but anyway. And so the only other thing you need is duplicate handling, basically, which is pretty simple because when you get the data, you've got all the metadata at that point. So you can easily just compare the metadata that's in the local library, and there's, you know, unique identifiers there like the IMDb ID or the TMDB ID or whatever. So it's pretty easy to handle duplicates.
What about movies of different resolution?
Yeah, exactly. So at that point, so you don't want to just throw away the duplicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to duplicate the metadata, but you want to say, actually, I've got another potential version. It might be the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And you probably know whether it's the exact same thing based on the path or whatever, I guess.
Can you query like file size over UPnP?
As long as it's in the metadata, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I think, I'm not sure if we do share file size. Yeah, well, we could share hashes, yeah. But we certainly share enough stuff that, like the stream details and all that sort of stuff that we can come across. Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple of ways, I was thinking about this. we have this crazy system which you would have seen, where when you retrieve information from the video database, you get a video database URL. Okay, so video db : / blah 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 blah. And then because we actually need the real file at various points, like when you play back, we also have a URL stored in the video info tab, which is filled when you list the database. So you have all this code. There's about 130 instances of if is video database, grab the real path. Yeah. And a lot of that is so you can do a bunch of different things. I'll list them up here. So one thing we could do is somehow remove that requirement and fix those 130 places in the code so that we don't have the assumption that if you have a video database URL that you need to know what the actual path is. And when you need the actual path, you can then go to the database and get it, right? And then as I thought about it more and wrote code, I decided that this was probably going to take forever. And there's a much simpler way, and that's you just leave the assumption in, and all you do is you just have a separate table. Okay, so this is the idea. It's really dumb. But at the moment in the movie table, the episodes table, and all the other ones, you've got a unique ID file, which points to the files table, which has the URL of the file. So the idea is just to keep that. Who cares what one it's pointing to? It doesn't really matter, right? It's just the first one that was put in or whatever. And then, so when you get a duplicate, you then go, okay, I've got two. So all I do is they're not the same, so I just add the file URL to a different table. And it's just a link table. So given an ID movie, you can get all the files that link to it. And given a file, you can get the movie that it links to. So it's easy enough to do. And it means that you don't have to care about all the places where we assume one file per video DB ID, because it doesn't really matter in most cases. But the case where it does matter is when you click on the damn thing and want to play it, you want to know which version you want to play. And at that point, you're going to prompt them anyway, and so you can have a database call to find out what the parts are, and away you go. So that's it. That's all it needs doing. Seems pretty easy. And of course, this takes care of like director's cuts and HD, SD, which everyone always asks for, right?
It's you prefer local over remote if it's the same file.
Exactly. So we can do intelligent things to the default action, right? We can automatically order those things that come in to take the local one first, or maybe the HD one first.
Even give them a different color or highlight, saying like this is a local file, this is a saying local computer or remote file.
Yep. Director's
show
cut.
it in the GUI. Get a pop-up. Click.
Exactly.
Oh, I'll take the local file. It's fine.
Exactly, and then use this one next time.
But if a remote client removes stuff, like delete stuff and rescan, and so you would have to have some kind of sync algorithm as well, right?
Yeah. So when you get the UPnP listing,
so now
you
it's
have
like this is not available anymore. Or...
Exactly. So currently, I think it's done. I think what happens is that there's basically another flag which says. So there's a flag that says whether it's local or remote of some kind. Then there's another flag that says whether it's actually there or not. So whether it's available.
What we do basically is you have a flag which has a source identifier like the UPnP ID. You store it in the database with the file or with the path, so you know it's not local. And then you basically disable all the remote items at startup, and you wait till the UPnP client is available. Then you check all the items against the ones you have. You add new ones, you remove the ones that aren't there anymore, and then you enable the items. So you can't really
what to remove if you have multiple remote sources.
Yes, but every item you have a file, like I don't know, you have an Iron Man movie from your computer X, and you have an Iron Man movie from your computer Z. And you first update X, and if it's not there anymore, you remove the one from X. You know where it's from.
So you separately store the machine or something?
No, you just store where it came from.
Where it came from. So basically, you've got the metadata
What if X never comes back up?
It's in the database, but
think
you
it changed.
No,
you simply don't get it.
What you
You
need,
don't
yeah.
get it.
But
Either you don't get it in the listing, or you have it disabled in the listing.
Right, but what if you have a problem if you, like, say you rename all your servers, you have a giant database, then using
cleaned up.
It should be cleaned up in the database if the host doesn't come back again.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
So there should be an
you
option
need
to
garbage
remove.
collection, like.
Yeah, you need some garbage collection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Days, weeks, or
I
whatever.
mean, that's pretty easy.
I'm not there yet.
But I mean,
The problem is if you use the truncate table.
no, but you've got just a list of like, there's only like 6 sources, right? There's like 6 UPnP servers that you've got stuff on, so you can easily go over and clean up based on, you know, one of them goes, and you can easily just flag all of that stuff. So.
Could be that you ran it on one, you turn on the machine but don't start XBMC, so the files are still there. You can access them, but how does it go?
That was a question. Are we playing back through UPnP or
Yep.
with the real, well,
So you need
the
to
common
run
file name?
XBMC on.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you can't assume that you've got the same, that machine A can play the same path that machine B can.
Yeah, so
that's the main
UPnP
problem.
playback.
Yeah,
But you can if it's a SMB file.
maybe,
Or NFS.
maybe,
Yeah, well,
not
good, but
necessarily.
You can try.
And
You could try.
You should try.
Should you? I don't know. What
The
difference does
question
it
I
make?
have is, if
Who
we're
cares?
running this all over UPnP, do we even need some of the remote stuff anymore? Because it's way faster to do a local scan than to do a remote scan. Like I can scan my database in 30 seconds over remote, or over local, but it takes like 15 minutes over remote. So do we even need SMB then? Because if we have all, if other things running, either, these mythical server version of XBMC or
Yeah, you should.
the combined.
Yeah, we need it in the single user setup. Yeah, NAS is in the network, and you have one instance of XBMC.
Unless you're going to write a server version of XBMC without a GUI which will run on my NAS, I will need remote storage because I'm not going to add 12 terabytes of data to my XBMC machine. The NAS is going to be in the cupboard.
Right, but can you install, could we, if we did?
It has an ARM
Yeah.
processor.
But I think that's
Be
like
special
the
build.
potential dream.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I don't really see the point.
If it would be possible, sure, I would do that.
You should make the code that you could add potentially that you don't finish it and think, oh, we want to use serverless, we need to hack around again. So
What they have to do.
you need to have the
Yeah, but-
framework to be able to.
But every XBMC instance is a server.
Yeah.
So if you want a thing without a GUI, then we just have to make XBMC buildable without all the GUI crap.
It already is.
It already is.
But you cannot change the settings.
But yeah, so we can do a test of the JSON, scan for an interface for us.
So we'd have to clean up a bunch of shit.
But that's not a problem there. If you use the UPnP.
Can you build XBMC without GL,
My change.
one of GL direct XBMC?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a thread on the forum.
Yeah, but can they build it without GL?
On my share, so.
I don't know if they can.
In my test, I stopped and started the XBMC many times, it's always the same.
Yeah, okay, but on XBMC UPnP sounds fine, but what with third party UPnP?
You don't get the necessary metadata from these.
So those are not supported.
I didn't try. It would probably work more or less, but
As a question, we want to support any other stuff, any other UPnP service, but XBMC.
Well, we can just.
Well, I mean, we can-
say, we need these fields.
Yeah, there's no reason why we have to.
Add it to your server.
Yeah, but if there are problems like changing IDs every time you put up the other one, then
Yeah.
it's going to be much more complicated.
Right, yeah, that's true.
How do we handle the real-time updates? Like, one is watching a TV show, is deleting it, and the other one tries to access it right now, or shortly after. I mean, I think UPnP can do announces that stuff changed, so maybe we can use that stuff.
That's already
Real-time
in.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's already there.
Yeah.
I think, like, I know like watch checks will update as soon as you back out of the list and go back
Well, I
into.
think part of it is because it's done really dumb. You kind of got to, it's essentially when you update an item, you've got to kind of retrieve all this crap data in order to update one field. It's quite inefficient. I mean, the idea is to get something working so that people don't do these crazy. Well, I mean, which works, but it's.
It doesn't work.
Exactly.
The problem also is with UPnP, you don't get the extra, like, the artwork that you put in now. It's not
You do.
available on UPnP.
So if you've got a UPnP XBMC session and you run another XBMC session, you should have the art.
Yeah, the posters and the background, but the extras aren't there. That's the reason why you need
Yeah, but
to.
that's possibly just because it's either not adding them all in the server part, or it's not retrieving them all in the client part, probably the server part.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of updating that little bit of code.
And if you want to show the disk or something, UPnP doesn't support
Yeah,
that.
it's not the standard.
Yeah, they're all.
We're already adding extra XBMC
you can
stuff
extend it,
anyway,
yeah.
so.
No, we are not tied to the UPnP standard. We can extend like
Yeah, you can add extensions.
But we need to be careful that we don't rebuild the whole UPnP, that we still can get the UPnP library and just add something. Now we're hacking around in the code again, so it's completely our problem again.
I got it.
We
We
just
need to
add-
be able to update the
Yeah,
library.
we're
fairly
not
easily.
hacking in the library.
Okay.
No, we're hacking in the upnp.cpp, which is this
Our implementation.
gigantic.
So then what about access control?
Yeah, so that's one thing that it wouldn't have support is things like profiles. I think what happens at the moment is that it just shares,
Everything.
it would share the current profile,
Yeah.
assuming that you've set up that profile with access restriction. Because the profile support in the database is three-way. You can either have a common database for everything that every user has and every profile has and can update, or you can have a common database which the access restriction is based on path. So there's these crazy loops that run through and says, are you the master user, or does my path match one of the locked paths? And throw it away if it's locked and you're not the master user. So these crazy things. So that and because that's within the database code, which is what UPnP uses to get metadata to share, it essentially won't see those movies. So yeah, profile handling would be completely unsupported.
Right, and same with watch status, stuff like that.
Watch status is supported. So watch status is transferred over UPnP.
But not the profile, like you couldn't have.
Exactly, which we don't support
You
anyway.
couldn't do, okay.
The only way we support that is if you have the third option for the database, which is a separate database for every user.
Well, you could still have profiles on the client side that has different. Or no, it's still because it's still synchronized.
Yeah, so it's essentially what would happen is if I have XBMC on machine A with profile A, and then I run XBMC on machine B with profile B will see everything that profile A is.
Yeah, but would it be possible to uncouple just watch status? Because that
it's
way.
possible. But essentially, I would not suggest attempting it.
Because
there would be, I would think there would be some situations where you would want the same database, but
just about all
different,
situations, right?
but different watch status for your different profiles.
both are
Actually,
actually
the entire profile
Sorry?
support
both
should be
use
one of
cases
the
are valid in my opinion. You have one guy has multiple TVs, and then you have the other.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
other case
different
where you have,
usage.
like 5 children and 5 TVs, and every child wants to have its own watch status, basically. So
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
we should implement this without profile support.
Well,
Just thinking.
yeah,
Well,
but that then just delays it, right? So we never get it done.
But
It seems to me that
the
we should
problem
get
is
something
if you do it now
and
and
then-
it's enabled, you get lots of people complaining, but you only got by port.
That's
But
all right.
that's only because they have their adult user installed with all their porn in the library.
Yeah, but we need to.
Do you really need the metadata? I don't know.
Some do.
Based on my experience, no.
But the stream details.
I haven't attempted scanning it.
But we should,
Which scraper do you
we
use?
should disable that first to have a common database then. Just for them to have separate profiles.
Well, we could still have different profiles that share it wouldn't actually, I mean, most kids would know a way around it, but you could in the interface just use smart playlists to filter out.
Doesn't really work.
No.
People keep asking on the forum, how do I separate my content from my kids in this way?
Yeah.
Can I make a separate profile? And it sort of works,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really work.
No.
I mean, you can still, from the kids' profile, click a few times. You don't have to change profile. You can still get into the other files. They're not really
Well,
separated.
Well, is that more of a bug issue?
Yeah, that's a bug.
It's being reported so many times, but it just doesn't get fixed, so I consider profiles to be not working.
Well, the profile's kind of bastardized anyway.
Yeah.
They were designed to be like, you know, you use your gamer and your TV, so you switch between those two things.
Yeah,
So you have different video settings, and then, you know,
I think
somebody
we
added passwords and, you know, add all the other stuff in there.
I think we should remove that first. Remove the visualization and just have separate user databases and then implement the syncing, then you're safe.
Yeah, but if you have separate user databases, it's a pain in the ass, right? Because they then have to scan everything 5 times.
Well, I think media should be stored, you know, back, and then we can filter it based on user.
Yeah.
So basically,
Or a group even, so you can have, you know, children, then, you know, Mary and John.
Yeah, but that has to be done with the database, right? At the moment, the database knows nothing about profiles.
Yeah.
so
All the
basic,
profile stuff is kind of this other
What people would really like is that they could scan their video, have them like tagged for like age categories, which are already on the scrapers anyway, and then set up a profile for a kid without a password, which says no PG stuff. Just like a smart playlist, but automatic, so it completely restricts all access to the database where there is any PG stuff. So not just showing a smart playlist, and then if you go to video sheet, you can still go to the source and see all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Completely separating. That's what people really will ask for all the time, and it's not possible at the moment. It would be really cool if that was possible.
so basically we just need a new profile system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a database.
Well, and
These are the things you can
or just
like
can't get a.
Well, it sounds like what we have now is just not, it would just need to be completely rethought.
Yeah.
Do we also need a way to only remote process the foreign databases, like on the Pi? I think it can't handle like 3 databases
Yeah,
version
sure.
1.
So, yeah,
Just
so,
don't store locally, just fetch every request from UPnP and version in range or whatever. So as a database.
potentially.
You're gonna blow up right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, so that's kind of a separate problem where you have a machine that has local access to this. So putting a SQL database on there is a kind of it's slower because the disk is
Just
slower.
only use remote database and database.
You still on the what, 256 RAM?
Yeah.
Or is it 256 or 512? They're both.
Yeah.
So I mean, potentially, my
Databases.
my movie database is 2,200 movies or whatever, plus TV, I don't know how many TV series.
Yeah.
If you're trying to pull all that edited in, you know, tops.
yeah. I was just looking at the sizing, and I have 70 TV shows, so it's about, I think, 4,000 episodes. There's quite some large ones with them. And like maybe 200 movies, not all of movies. And my video database is 14 MB. So if you have several, you're gonna sync 14 MB. It's not that much more, I think.
As that, but then we're going to send it over to UPnP is what, is it JSON or something?
Yeah.
It is a concern, I think. How long would that take? Like if I add a new client,
Yeah.
it will see my database. How long will that take?
Yeah, so it takes a while.
And that's only videos. You also have music.
But in most situations, right, you're going to have like a machine that's mostly going to be the server, and then everything else is going to be the clients. And once it's done once,
Yeah, that's a good point actually. That this
It is
is
a
only
lot of
the
things.
metadata and not the pictures and stuff. So the 14 MB I have is only the metadata.
yeah, sure.
So either you
So
go to
the pictures would be just fetched the same way any other pictures are.
Yeah,
So they're just fetched direct from a UPnP server.
Yeah.
So and you could specify that
And it goes into the local image cache then.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And that's
Which-
purged.
No difference from full speed wise.
Yeah, so that's a potential problem so systems with cracked local disk essentially is a problem. But I mean that's a problem anyway, right?
That's basically what we're trying to get around with my super.
Can you do lazy loading, like only download the IMDb ID on the title of the movie and reload the metadata?
Yeah, sure.
Only once shown in the list or something?
Yes, can UPnP, do you know, Sasha? Can you fetch just like,
Say which fields you want.
just some fields? Or does the server just everything?
Initial
It should work, it's just that our client doesn't support it. Our server doesn't support it currently.
Right,
But it's fully possible to filter out what fields you want.
yeah. So that would speed up the initial fetch to see
Yeah.
what's out there.
Yeah. It's like scraping. It just lasts some time, then you do it once.
Yeah.
Then.
No, but it's true, but it's cool that if you, like have a new client, if I go to movies and I see all my movies, but I just see the names, you know? And it shows like, you can show like more metadata is being fetched, I don't care. But I can still, like, oh, I want to play this movie, play it.
Yeah.
And then like the next day I'll have all my metadata.
Yeah, but it's only like a question of minutes
Yeah.
to sync the whole lot.
Yeah, as long as the entire interface doesn't become unresponsive for minutes.
Yeah, but you only have to do it once, this is the point. You don't have to do it every time you turn XBMC on, right? Because once you've got the data there, then it's there. So that all you're doing at that point is seeing whether there's anything else, which is all done in the background.
Right. Well,
Theory.
that could be a problem.
Yeah, but if all we're fetching is the IMDb ID,
Do you
We're
care about
trying
why?
What?
But enough people do, like we have, obviously, OEs.
but you can speed up the disk on Pi using like a USB 3 disk RAM.
The
It's faster, I think, than these.
In the new setting system, you can disable this UPnP sharing on Pi and make a appliance XML that says this setting is not available on Pi. You cannot share libraries.
Well, I think I saw some speed in the comparison between the USB 3 and a class 10 disk, and there was no real difference. So you shouldn't buy crappy disks. If you have class 10, it's reasonably fast. But they buy the class 4.
that
SD
depends,
card, so-
because class 10 just means the minimal's 10 megs per second. But there's your average USB stick's going to be a lot faster than that. A lot faster. So you can have a class 10 that's way slower than a USB
It
stick.
doesn't matter, it takes your entire CPU to run the
There is no class 11.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Well,
I think Millhouse did some comparison on the USB 3 and the class 10 card, and there was no real difference in loading libraries. So.
I don't know, but that's not what like Dom's been saying, and that's not what I see on each Pi that I've ever looked at. USB stick blows the SD card away.
What's the interface though? SD card's like USB or SPI or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
Or
So that's merely a hardware problem. They don't want a fast library. Get a USB 3 stick.
I think the performance issues shouldn't be
No, it shouldn't be
going
going
for the first shot.
No.
well, I don't know, because that kind of puts up a good point that someone said on the forum is the Pi kind of serves as our minimal,
design consideration.
cutoff.
But not as restrictive. So
Well, I
keep
mean,
in mind, okay.
well, to be honest, it's like the main platform that's going to get the advantage from it, because you don't have big disk there, you don't have big RAM there. You keep all that on, like you have a Core i3 box with 50 disks in it or whatever. You serve out with Pis. So the main, I see that winning for the small RAM at disk platforms.
And multi-client part. Because I don't use UPnP now because, you need to go to files and then select the UPnP server and then you see the movies. I just want to have the movies on my...
It should just show up.
That's why a lot of people just don't use it. You need 4 or 5 clicks to even get to the movies.
Yeah.
Or you add it to favorites, and some skins you can add the favorite to the menu, and then you have it, but that's hacking.
Well, that's why don't you have something lined up for being able to customize the home menu?
I do, there's a pull request. I haven't.
Would that...
Probably pretty shit because Sasha's reviewed it and sent me lots of emails.
But that wouldn't be,
But that's completely separate.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, but still, the ability to change your home screen would on the default skin, because I mean, a lot of skins